let me go to Cowlazars page.
All right, now we got to switch. All right, I think we're live, everybody. The abduction has happened. I thought the first show went great. What do you guys think?
Yeah, that was a blast.
Yeah, that was fun. I loved it. And I lost a bet, but I'm not disappointed about it.
I knew you'd have 100.
That's a good bet to lose.
That was an easy bet.
I don't know if I'll be saying that next week, but yes. Oh my gosh, my new channel or my, I don't know. I'm not.
My new channel.
No, I'm not like I'm not subscribed to you, Mike.
What? You're what?
This is the one that I made up so I would have Chris. Yeah, I was not subscribed to you. That's funny. Abducted. Now I can see you guys. Whoop whoop. Okay. Hey, so Will, this is the place for you. Let me grab you one right now.
What are you saying? What's going on over there?
Your emails are up. I was going to say, do you know your screen is showing, Mike?
My screen? Yeah, we're live, right?
Yeah, but when you're doing that, it's showing your Zoom and all of that.
Yeah. No, it's okay.
Want to make sure
it has to be. It's the way it is.
So who else is going to come in and join us?
I'm working on it.
Okay. So we already have 29 watching.
You never know who might be on. Let's see. Although it is live, right? Because mine is not showing for some reason. But that may
well, you're talking in the chat room, so I hope you're
good. Yeah, we're good.
Okay, all right. It's just me. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so there was one question that Sean Martinez, and since he's back in the room, I will put out his question. Is where does warm water salt?
An easy one.
Yeah.
Anybody want to venture a guess?
All right. Well.
Oh, he's and Davio wants to know what is it. So we're just down to let's share our solves.
Trying to find all these emails.
I don't have I scratched everything and started over. So
yeah,
not an area I'm going to, but I don't have 9 clues yet. I don't even have 1. Well, maybe, but.
Well, so I'll throw this out. So I had first year, I had a solve in Wyoming. Second and a half year, it took me about 6 months to find a new one. I was in that solve for almost 18 months. Then follow me down if you get back in here. I took his solve. He was at like clue 8. Did that for about 3 months because I did 2 boots on the ground with him. And now I'm rebuilding, and it's the worst feeling in the world, especially going into an off season.
It's tough, isn't it?
It's the hardest thing ever, but I feel at least at this point, going to Sean's roundtable question, I feel I know what it is. I just got to figure out where it is. And it's just the research mode of research mode of research mode. And it's a tough place to be, but we're all going to be there in a month or 2. I know New Mexico people, they're still searching, but up north, I think there's a few people in there that are, Sled, you're in there. Are you still boots on the ground? Are you snowed over by now? He's a northern person. We're Sledneck. What are you doing? And hey, follow me down. How are you, search partner? So where
about the fighting bison.
Oh goodness.
Yeah, the video was crazy, wasn't it?
That was crazy, man. Well, I've got, for the team, I've got, of course, the one that pretty well everyone knows because he's shared it so much, and that's basically that the only halt, because halt is such a strict word, is the state line for the fishing regulations in New Mexico, and that's neither here nor there. But outside of that, I also think that it makes a lot of sense that if the river is somehow the warm waters, that wherever that river meets its confluence or ends is a halt, right? Mm-hmm. Because it's a dead stop to the name of that river and that kind of setup. So those are the 2 that I've entertained at length and followed clues on.
So let me tell you my first solve that kind of made sense is I didn't look at warm water's halt as actual water. Mm-hmm. So the warm water was like life, and where it halts would be death. And I found a death canyon in Wyoming, and it had a house of brown. Man, I was excited when I found that. It was like 1:32 in the morning. I was like jumping up and down on the couch, and I was like, I finally got a solve. And so we were heading out that way anyways. I didn't make a special trip, but I drugged the whole family on this grueling hike. And I can't even talk to this day about it.
Uh-oh.
It turned out to be 5 miles in with about 2,000 feet of elevation. To the House of Brown. And
wow.
I would say not even halfway in. I knew that there was no way Forrest did this twice.
Yeah.
It just became like, okay, we're going to do this because we're here.
Yeah.
Jason, do you ever take your family? Not you have your up family, but do you take your kids and things out with you when you go?
You know,
Or
so
is it a dad
here's
thing?
my problem is I'm such a head guy with the poem and trying to relate to what I'm seeing and everything, and I that parent space, it just doesn't allow for that kind of thing. When I'm trying to think about exactly like what Copper Dan said, those kind of things like, does it make sense for Fenn at his age to be here? Is this within the distance that seems appropriate? Would this allow for a decent amount of regular traffic within 500 feet? These are all the things that we've heard about that are in the back of our minds.
Yep.
So that when you walk right to what you think it is and it's not there, you have to fall back on all of that really generalized kind of, well, what have the hints been? Like, I'm here now. How does all of that apply? And I can't do that with kids running around. I love them to death. And I know that Forrest, that's exactly what he intended. But the truth is, it's 2 different trips. One trip,
that I've gotten into it with him too. Exactly.
Hey, there he is. Hey, Toby.
Grandfather of the
boy.
Wait. I got to
Yeah,
get audio.
we can hear you. We can hear you.
Yeah.
All right, there we go. Can you guys hear me?
Oh,
We can hear you.
Wait,
Can
do
you hear me?
you want to repeat that about your dad, or do you want to wait?
Yeah. They forced me, Dad. I had no idea.
We drugged him.
Well, wait. I got to turn you off in the background. Hold on. No.
I was gonna say, who has the game on? Come on now, because I know
Nah.
Mike does.
Yeah. It's not looking good either, but that's all right.
Yeah, but I really appreciate what Forrest intended when he was first talking about getting your families out in the woods. But as other people have pointed out, unfortunately, it's actually led to more people online and and on their phones trying to figure out these solves and stuff. So, but it just has to be 2 different things for me. One is search time, and one is dad in the woods with a fishing pole time. So.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's the thing for me.
Hey, Sean, how's it going?
Hey, Sean.
Have you got
Brother
audio?
Sean.
Sean, where's your other half? You gotta get.
Brother Sean.
I can see it right here. I'm watching
He's
the
got an
game.
angle on it.
Oh boy.
He's got an angle on it.
Well, I'll go off of what you just said, Jason. I won't, next year, first year, I'm going to take my kids. I didn't feel comfortable with when my 6-year-old can't stay out of the mud, he's not going to stay out of a geyser, and that's death.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I'm waiting, and I boots on the ground alone. Forrest did not like it. I'm sorry, Forrest. I did it anyway. I checked in with you. I checked in with my safety team. But this next year is going to be the first time I'm taking my kids, and they're pumped. We're going to do 4 weeks. I think we're going to go up to Yellowstone, and then we're going to go back down through the Rockies, finish in Santa Fe, and then come back to North Carolina. So in a
4
fifth wheel,
weeks straight? 4 weeks
I
straight?
think it's going to be 4 weeks. I think
Wow.
it's going to be 4 weeks.
Good
Hey,
deal.
did you guys see that that knucklehead try to almost jump into Old Faithful?
Yeah, it was on the
Yeah.
news. Yeah, he was
Oh,
laid down, and I don't know what he was
Laid
doing.
down. I think he put his arm in it. I'm like, I thought he was going to jump in. Didn't want anyone to watch the video.
He's probably going to jail for a while.
Probably.
Toby and Sean, you're on the first show. This is so exciting.
And I'm cutting it off at 6. 6 is enough.
Well, that's good. I think you have a good rounded selection of the search community.
2 Eunices. I mean, hey.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, right?
That's-
Oh, hey, and I have to let everybody know that the Coffee with Cowlazars, the time's going to be moved. It was 7
Thank you.
p.m. Mountain. It's going to be 8 p.m. Mountain because I'm going to do it after Shelley's The Softer Side, which I watched last week. Maybe if Christy talks me into it, I might watch it again. I don't know yet.
You know what? Do
You
yourself
ask a question? Will you ask a question, Mike?
do yourself a favor.
You
and
want
watch
me to ask
again.
a question? Yeah, I will.
And let me tell you, when I gave Shelly the phone number for last week's show,
Right.
I gave her the wrong phone number.
Oh, I know.
So I have to make up for that.
Right.
And I keep wondering if there's some business guy on the other end of that 1-800 number that's listening to voicemails going, say, This is Mike Cowlings, and I just want to talk.
It was actually Mark from Atlantic City. I thought nobody would know it was me.
The bad part was I text Toby on his personal cell phone. I'm like, don't say anything, but can you please check the voicemail?
Yeah.
And then I put it in confidential. But he read the whole thing, and then he said confidential. Mike's like, what the hell?
I was like, yeah. So I will watch Thursday. I'll check it out.
There's some poor businessman that got 4 voicemails and 3 text messages all about relationship management, and he was
and didn't respond.
Yeah, didn't respond.
We support Shelley. We're in there. Yes.
That was very kind, Michael, and we really do appreciate it. Her show doesn't have the breadth that some of these other programs have, so we really appreciate you thinking about it and giving her the consideration, the benefit of the doubt. So,
Sean in
we can.
Sean in there.
I did.
Sean Martinez has been in there, and we can promise that at the end of our show, we'll promote the beginning of your show. So.
Oh, thank you. Well, I think Shelley might be invited for the. I don't want to speak for Christy, but for the girl only panel, Shelley is going to be invited, right?
Yeah.
You know what? I think one of the criticisms that is fair criticism is that unfortunately she doesn't get enough airtime when I talk.
Right.
And she has a lot of her own ideas. She's very good she knows the research, and she's developed her own opinions around that, enough so that we can argue a point. A lot of the things that I'll say or do, she'll question, and it forces me to rethink kind of some of our strategies. So.
She's been with you on every Boots on the Ground? You don't go by yourself?
No. I've been on 32 since 2013.
Okay.
Oh, really?
She's been on the last 11.
Okay.
Of those.
Well, just think if we have several in there that have search partners that are men, how different the conversation. We'll let you guys watch, but I think some very entertaining things will come out about our true, and some of us boots on the ground with our search partners, some of them don't. My search partner, I've never been boots on the ground with, but we've had some hard conversations after I've crashed, he's crashed. But I think, and if Allie was in there, I think that'd be interesting. 2 different search locations.
Oh, I'm trying to convince her. She's thinking about doing her response to roundtable number 2.
Oh, very nice. That's a good idea. Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, we still have to do that as well, the response.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
I've spoken to 3 different female searchers in the last week, and 2 of them are frustrated because their partners, their life partners, are literally not interested. And so there's a struggle that goes along with that. Shelley is very fortunate in that Kevin, her husband, has, not 2017, but I'm sorry, not 2018, 2017, said, okay, I'm in on this, and became interested in it. So he's been on the last several searches this season. So.
Well, that makes it and so the dynamic between search partners being spouses, not spouses. My partner is not, and then I'm partnered with Mike on YouTube. I got dynamics happening there's and Jason doesn't search with. I don't think you search with your wife, but you search with your dad. Sean searches with his girlfriend, but is in 2 different locations. And then we have
Timmy and Alora.
Hey, how are you?
Them very quickly.
Hi, Alora.
Very excited that we're doing
Tim.
a live stream, and now they're gonna go play. I just wanted to say hi.
Bye, brother.
Say hi, Alora.
candy.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Candy.
You can go watch it on the other computer.
Ice cream, candy.
Right.
That's cool.
There you go, John.
That's awesome. Well, and so Sean, have you ever taken your kids out boots on the ground? Because they are a little bit younger than mine, but I haven't been comfortable yet. Are you comfortable?
I have taken my teenagers who are 16 and 17 boots on the ground. The little ones, especially Timmy, he's been on me for a few years now to take him out and actually search, but we're waiting until he's a little bit older. But the teenagers really loved it. They really enjoyed it, and they were 100% confident that we were going to find the chest.
Nice.
And
So
they did enjoy it.
Sean, I know you had a search plan for this weekend that was starting on Friday, but I just got your message saying that you didn't get a chance. Something got in the way.
Sure. business got in the way, so hopefully it's rescheduled for the week after next. If everything lines up right, we'll be heading up there. I think we'll have 3 degrees. It'll be 3 degrees lower in temperature by then. So, I mean, we're steadily declining in temperature up north of Santa Fe. And this weekend would have been perfect, but some things just got in the way and we weren't able to go.
And Copper Dan will announce, based on that last email that you sent me, will announce your product launch tomorrow on tomorrow's show.
All right. Just obviously, we've already got the name picked. So
yeah.
Everything after that. And then Wednesday, we're going to we'll get it up and hopefully we'll see what happens.
Hey, Mike, I didn't make a bet, but who was going to have more, me or you? I think that should have been a bet because Sasha just, or Jason just noted. So does that make us even? So then the bet is nullified?
What are you saying? Oh, as far as viewers?
On the numbers.
No. This was all about you. This was all about Kpro not This mine was an afterthought. That's all. Thursday will be mine. I'm gonna make you come on mine too. I told her we would get 100 people to view her show, and she said no way. So we did an over/under at 75, and I think we hit 106 viewers at the same time.
Yeah, you could look at the peak concurrent, and it'll tell you what your max number was.
Yeah,
so.
I knew we would hit 100. But Toby, correct me if I'm wrong. Has there been any YouTube Live that has had 200 viewers at the same time yet?
We've never reached 200. The highest we've had is around 160, 160.
Right. And I don't think anybody's hit 200, so that's a good goal.
What if we had some contests on a night that maybe got 200?
And they need to be in the chat room for that contest. That's a good idea.
Yeah, that'll get you. That could get you 200.
How do you get all those coins? I got to look at my spreadsheet.
Hi, Mike Cowlazars. I know him. I know how to get every last one out of him.
Yeah, I don't think. I'm certain 200 hasn't been hit yet, but people have come close. Kind of like Fenn says.
It'll happen as things get bigger and bigger.
Some have been within under 200, but there's been some that have been close.
Get Forrest on
sound like
Fenn
now.
She'll hit 200.
Do what?
Get Forrest on the show.
Yeah. That would be interesting. Right?
Let's see what's
because he's so tech savvy. Love you, Forrest, but did you send him this one?
I sent him the link to this. He may be watching, so everybody say hi to Forrest.
Christy.
I think
Channels abducted.
Yeah.
Abducted.
Cowlazars. There we go. Cowlazars.
What's going on? Well, Jay
All one
Minnesota
word.
said
Cowlazars.
your first video showed that many people watched it. Yeah, there's lots of them that have thousands of watches. Well, and Toby, you hit 1 million watches, right?
We're 1.3 million views right now.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And you hit what? 3,200 subscribers? 3,300?
30. We just went over 3,400.
34. That's awesome.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And Mike, you just went over 1,800.
1,800,
right?
yes.
Okay.
Without really making a video, it's been all raffle and coins, and that's why I wanted to start the Thursday live streams. I haven't really got back to the clues
I can
in a while.
give you. I spend a lot of time tracking our statistics.
Hey, Sasha. Yes,
Hi,
Toby.
Sasha.
Oh, can
you hear us? Hey.
There. Okay. Yes. There you go. There you are.
So hey, how are you? So your statistics, Toby?
I was going to say there was a slip in our numbers. There was an indication that the numbers slipped while we were doing the whole period that we were talking about the Jamie Jordan raffle.
Right.
And I think the way people responded was, we're going to contribute to the raffle, but get back to the basics of talking about the Fenn treasure, because we saw that little dip. Not that I'm blaming it on Jamie Jordan, for God's sakes, but it was an indication that people are tuning into these channels to hear more about this treasure hunt. Right. And the minute you get off that track, you're going to lose viewers and watch time. So
yeah, they want the clues. Lesson. They want to know where the treasure chest is. Just tell them. Yeah, right.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's what we got. By the way, I do have, if any of you are interested, I've had an extended text conversation with a gentleman on my 1-800 number, and he's at the point now where he's willing to offer up to $1,000 a day and 30% of the final treasure for someone to go recover it for him. I told him I wasn't interested, but if anyone is interested in communicating with this gentleman,
what state?
Yeah, I can't. He won't say.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
well, that makes
but
it
he would
hard.
pay up to $1,000 a day looking for the treasure. If you're interested in talking to him, send an email to at gmail.com, and I will forward his contact information.
$1,000 a day. That's not bad.
Yeah.
Not bad.
So,
Hey, I'm gonna be
Sasha,
the
can you
next
hear
show
us?
next month.
Yeah, I can hear you guys. I'm setting myself up. I'm sorry.
Well, we can
I
hear
was
you.
not
We can hear you.
prepared.
So I got to know that video you made. Are you really done with the chase? You're not done with your search location, are you?
That's not possible.
Right,
Not
of course.
to find it. I mean, it's me we're talking about. Are you kidding me? No way.
You wouldn't be able to stand it. You wouldn't be able to stand it for more than
Well, for like a day. Well, yeah.
No, hey, let's be clear. I've taken 2 breaks from the chase, guys.
How long? How long?
The first one was about 8 months, and the second one was about a year. So
Wow, a whole year.
when I first started real estate, it was 2.5 years ago, and I completely quit the chase for a while so I could focus on that. But yeah, I quit for a year, so it has
That's
happened.
probably good
but
to take a break.
Have you ever, Sasha? Have you ever thought in that time, that year's time, I got to get a new location?
Nope.
Okay. Okay.
So we do have a question from the chat room for everybody.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
Good, because I can't read it. I'm trying to pull it up.
It says, question to you all. How would you guys feel if the finder was not a part of the community and not even in need of the money? Would you continue the hunt if he or she left a $10,000 secondary prize?
Wow,
10
that is
grand, would you still look?
that is a whole bunch of questions. So I think I'd feel the same way if someone announced the find, and whether it was an accidental find by a newbie, out on a picnic, or a searcher, and that is okay. It's over. As a matter of fact, I think at this point there's going to be somewhat of a sense of relief. Like, oh, thank God that's over. And we'll work on a new YouTube channel, I guess. But I think if they were to say, like, I'm going to leave $10,000 here for the rest of you, I would have no interest. I don't.
For me, if the solution comes out and the person actually says where it is, I want to travel there and I want to see the location. Even if the chest is gone, I want to know what the blaze was. I want to see it myself. I want to see if it made sense and if it's something that I could have figured out. And it would be
Almost
awesome if
like
somebody left something behind, but I would go just to see.
Almost like a landmark, something that people could travel to. They could follow these clues and go to the location where the treasure was previously.
That would become a shrine,
That's an idea.
wouldn't we all leave something behind?
Yeah, I was just
I'd leave a
well.
coin, Forrest Fenn coin, at least.
Coin.
Yeah.
This is why I keep saying that the person is just not going to be able to come forward, because a once pristine, unbothered environment would then turn into a location of crap. That's just not.
That's
You're
a good
right.
point.
That's
idea.
true.
And so much for a special spot, right?
So do you think... Go ahead, Chris.
Go ahead, Mike. No, go ahead, Mike.
Do you think Forrest, whoever finds it, do you think Forrest would prefer them not to disclose the location? Is that what you're saying? He doesn't want a whole bunch of people to go there and kind of destroy it?
I'll say this: Forrest has always said he will do whatever the finder wants.
That's right.
Oh, okay.
To come forward and spill the beans, then they can. It's their game after that. Forrest doesn't have control over that part of the game. He doesn't have control over who finds it. He doesn't have control over when. So those are all the things he can't control in this chase.
Right.
But I think that outside of him, I think the search community, if it doesn't come out, there's going to be a lot more shenanigans and craziness and wild stories and whatever.
I have a question for you all. Here's my question. Let's say Forrest comes out and says the treasure is found, but the finder wants to remain anonymous. How can he prove that any of this was real and the finder even exists?
Oh man!
Oh, don't say that. Yeah.
So we've actually thought about that. I think there is a very good probability. There's a high probability that the finder would care to remain anonymous, but at the same time provide the evidence, whether it's photographic or otherwise, that indeed the treasure was recovered. We recommend a picture of the bracelet with the local newspaper for that time, et cetera, et cetera. And I think that's probably that. And I know how you feel, Sasha, about the anonymity part. We're actually with you on that, but I don't think that would prevent the finder from saying it has been found. I think you could do that and still remain anonymous, and that would be my recommendation. Let the community know that it's been found.
I think those people that would question that are going to question no matter how.
Anyway, yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah,
they're
but
going to
I
be
think
upset
You're
no
always gonna
matter
have
what.
those- You're
I
always
think there's
going to
gonna be
have those
proof.
who are going to question it.
I have
But
a
I
follow-up question. I have a follow-up question.
Oh, follow up.
Yes. So, what if it's one of you guys? How do you prove Forrest didn't help you?
Oh, he did. He
I
told
know,
me.
You know what, Sasha? I was totally thinking about
Oh,
that. Even
Yeah.
coming
yeah.
Right.
coming out of our meetings and stuff. Hey, some people get time with them and some people don't. And I
It's
thought
true.
about that. I thought, well, God, what if one of those comes out of the woods with it? Like, let's say a month later, and it's like, yeah, so you happen to be at his house and you happen to
Right.
come home.
Oh,
Right,
yeah.
Some of
Yeah,
you
you
with
used
lottery
his
cards.
bathroom, right,
Yeah.
Mike? I mean, you used his bathroom, so you went in there, and a month later,
I
you
used
on your
his
first
bathroom.
boots in the
Were
ground.
there any hints in his bathroom, Mike?
Yeah, no, there was
Wait,
no
I do
hints
have to
anywhere.
say, this is what we
Kpro's
show.
been talking about this.
Wait, this is what we show, but we got WWW.
Now I'm waiting.
Okay, what do you have there?
We
Kpro?
don't know what's written on the back of those shirts.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Maybe
What do you have
know
there?
what? I got one that's
WWW
missing from his yard
numbers.
too.
I think
Yeah.
they're
The
important.
pottery, Sasha? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for somebody to
Oh,
say the
important.
reason Christy started her own channel was to reveal the chest that she found a month ago.
Oh,
But
yeah.
that is not
it's
true,
It
because
is
I would
because
kill her if it was true and she didn't tell me.
So you
Well,
took
of course
pieces
I
of
would
his
tell you.
pottery with
Put it on
coordinates
a
on it.
video.
Right.
No,
One
but
of-
I think it's a great question that Sasha asked, because
Yeah.
there has been some previous years where people say, I've got an advantage. I'm going boots on the ground. I've got it. And people
Yeah.
were like, that's cheating. That's cheating. They never came home with it. And this
Right.
is where I 100% believe the people in the community that know nobody gets hints. Because here's the thing. I did not meet Forrest for 3 years. The first time I met Forrest, and I'm going to call you out a little bit, and I'm sorry, is with Jason Dent. And he said, can you tell me where you're searching? And Jason looked at me and he goes, you haven't told him? And I'm like, no, because he'll do this like eye roll thing and I won't know what it means. And I don't want to tell him anything about my search because I don't know what he will never give me a hint, or I'll go back and forth. So of course I will never tell him where I'm even searching, because he just does the mind thing back and forth. Now, does the average person know that when there has been people at his house, there hasn't been people at his house? I think that's
You
just
know,
human nature.
I'll tell you, I personally think one of the most dangerous things a searcher in this treasure search can do is get some FaceTime with Fenn, because it's so dangerous to take what might come out of that, or his inflection,
I don't
or
look
he
at it
looked
that
like
way.
this, or he asked me a question about that. And it's like, what did that mean? What did that turn? And what does it turn your search into? You know?
That's how David ended up in Yellowstone. David Kushner ended up in Yellowstone.
Let me play Sasha for just a second. If you want to sit down and talk to him about the search and try to get clues, that's one thing. If you want to sit down with a pretty incredible person with some pretty incredible stories,
oh yeah,
that's the kind of person.
My time with Forrest had nothing to do with the treasure chest. You know?
Which, by the way, Pam Shopman over at Ramblin' Pan did an amazing job of. I thought she was really smart to do what she did with having first visited the Joseph Henry Sharp properties up in Cody, and then coming back to Fenn and asking him if she could interview him. I thought that was a brilliant move on her part. Ended up in a really good video as well.
All right, there's another. Go ahead.
Hold on. One of the things I've watched Forrest do, and I've seen him do this in a public setting. It was at the gallery one day. Somebody walks up to him and starts talking about their solution, and he looks at them and he says, sounds like you know what you're doing. And that person runs away and thinks that Forrest just told them they know where the treasure is.
Seriously, man, right? Exactly.
I think it's his favorite thing to do, to be honest.
That's on that person, though. I mean,
well, right.
I think.
So, I'll agree with you. You know, take what he says with a grain of salt in person. Yeah. If it's out in the public in the chase, then it's fair game. But if he says it in person, you know, take it with a grain of salt.
Well, take it for what it is. I mean, you know, when you have a conversation with him, you have to be open-minded. You can't just drop everything and run up to the mountains and think that you've got it down because Forrest said, hey, sounds like you know what you're doing. I agree with that 100%. But a lot of people are so vested in it, and it may be their one opportunity to go out and get it. It may be their one chance, or one trip to the mountains north of Santa Fe. A number of us have taken, you know, more than one trip. north of Santa Fe. But some people, that's it. That's all they get. They get that one. And Sasha, Allie said that I need to be nice to you. Was I not nice to you at some point?
Uh-oh.
No.
I have to ask
I
you.
love you, Allie. He's a sweetheart. I promise. I love you both.
I thought there was a
Very
warrant for
good.
her stealing decoy. Is that not right? I thought you had a warrant, Sean, for her arrest.
It could be forthcoming.
There he is. There he is. With the tape still under his eye.
Don't be jealous.
Petty
Don't be
misdemeanor.
jealous. My boyfriend.
No.
is
I never thought you were me for a second. You're one of my favorites. Like, why would I think that? You guys are adorable.
Awesome.
Hi,
Allie's
Allie.
telling me. Allie's telling me now that we need to go to Forest South. So, she wants.
Oh,
to go.
that's how did you not get into
That
Forest
should
South?
be fun.
What did somebody ask a little bit ago?
Yeah, there is a question from Finding the Chest. I'm wondering if everyone on the panel might be interested in discussing Forrest's quote regarding his last dying gasp and how that might relate to the treasure chest location. So Forrest said he would throw himself over the treasure chest and take his last gasp, right?
Yeah.
That was the original plan. So
I mean, the
how
only
could
thing
that
that I
relate?
got out of that, and this is what we were actually talking about on Christie's show, the only thing that I got out of that is the suggestion that the spot is not just a little tiny hole that the chest is stuffed into, that it's at least like a niche or a small cave space. So whenever I see people online and they're literally poking a stick in a little tiny,
I
you know,
do that.
warren,
I'm looking at you,
rabbit
Christy.
warren, I'm like, that's not what he's describing, because he
Right.
couldn't lay his body over that and expect that he would actually be found with the chest in that hole.
That's
So,
too
How
large.
about 12 feet?
That's-
Whatever the
that's
space
what I
is
got out
12
of it.
feet big.
That's what I got out of it.
You're right.
Right.
You're right. But we all do it once. So I go out to Yellowstone. I'm spending $5,000 between the flight, between my past search partner, between the hotel, between the car. You get there, you get to your spot where it's supposed to be obvious it's not there. Do
Yeah.
you just like, okay, I'm going home? No, you start working your way out. You start getting into the little spot. And again, I put my stick into
Hit
one
that
of the
stick.
very hot springs and it came out and it wasn't there. And that was actually it kept it.
And
because
then
I
you got
didn't
arrested.
special.
That wasn't Old Faithful, was it? Oh, okay.
You just gave me a David Kramer flashback with a whole I spent $5,000 thing.
Yeah, it's true though. If you come from the East Coast, it's not unreasonable,
Cape Ron.
especially
Cape Ron.
Yellowstone in the middle of the season.
You've got $5,000 in coins right there on that table.
I have to
you go.
believe that at some point or the other, soon after he thought about that, that sounded like a reasonable idea as he was expecting to die from cancer and he was putting this all together. But at some point, the more he thought about it, he realized that it's a logistics nightmare because he can't do that and not leave footprints. And I will turn this over to Dr. Detective here, because if he were to do that, he's got to leave some sort of trace, whether it's physical.
How
Oh,
about
yeah,
his
the
car at the
vehicle.
museum? He said he would park
Yeah.
his car at the Denver
His-
Museum.
Yeah.
his vehicle-
That's a clue,
Oh,
right?
that's not
The
real.
vehicle
No,
parked-
that's like
I
going
mean,
to
you're
his house.
you're exactly right, Toby. He would leave some form of evidence along the way. However, he has the monetary means to be able to monetarily erase that if he decides to.
Mhm.
I mean, there's somebody who could keep it quiet if they were paid enough, if he decided to go that route. It is reasonable to believe that he could go out there and lay on top of this chest in the years to come. It's also reasonable to believe that when he found out that he had cancer when he was 88, I mean, where would you go if you found out that you had cancer? Wouldn't you go to your very special place? Wouldn't you want to go to a place that makes you feel comfortable, makes you feel at home? And that could have been the time that he devised this idea to go ahead and go forward with this while he was sitting there. Hey, I'm going to bring a chest out and put it right there and see what happens. And I'm going to write this all up and do this over time, within the year I have left. And it all could have come to him. And I'm just guessing here, while he was sitting in that special place.
Yeah, at age 58, dying from cancer, yes.
Absolutely.
At age 88, the logistics problem and the fact that you would leave your family guessing about where you decided to, what did Jason say, chuck yourself on the chest, that I think it creates, as of now.
And croak, yeah.
Right, yeah.
And Dad, don't take this wrong, but you're a little hot, so.
Oh, thank you.
And so, Forrest, if you
would
could,
he be the kind that would leave a letter?
Toby, you're a
Would
little
he be the type that would leave a letter to his family, to everyone, saying, "Hey, it was a great ride, and see you on the other side"? Is that something that Forrest would do?
so Forrest, could you please clarify? See what I did there, Christy? How I tie it all together? Could you clarify for Thor if you were serious about you parking your car at the Denver Museum? I know it was Douglas Preston put it in the forward. I want to know if Forrest ever actually said it himself. If he was ever serious that he was going to leave his car.
Wait. You want to ask an old man about the terms of the death he was planning? Does that not in any way seem insensitive to anyone?
The whole treasure chest was him planning his death, right?
No, but like when people talk about Peggy and people talk about, I agree. There's certain things that I think are
I think y'all are going too far, man. That's not okay for me. Like, you don't want to ask Forrest, hey, Forrest, when you die, are you seriously going to drive to Denver and park your car?
Now, here's one that I do think is okay. I emailed Forrest, and I've told Toby this, so he can't be mad at me. When Toby did the panel about if he died in 2010, what would this chase be like? I was like, that's so insensitive, and Forrest and Toby, and I didn't know Toby, and he's like, chill out. Like, it's okay. This is chase related. I was like, okay. But when people bring up kids and grandkids, and the grandkid is the treasure, and I need a kidnapper, and Peggy, and what was I going to do when I died, and all that, I think that's off limits. Just for me, that's not.
Sounds like you were on a forum. Is that
on the other hand, he hasn't responded to an email since. So.
Oh.
No, I'm just. Am I? Let me do it
with your panelists. He sure has.
Yeah. How's my audio now, Jace? Still, is it okay?
Still a little bit, but yeah.
All right. Let's see if I can bring it down here. How's that?
That's pretty good.
I'm down. I'm pulling down gain here.
Whoa, yeah. No.
Yeah, no, a little too far.
Okay.
What are you drinking there, Toby?
That's Wild Turkey American honey.
All right, here's to us. Here's to the panel, and here's to Kpro's first show.
Here's to Kpro's first show, to the panel.
Cheers.
You guys looked great tonight.
Have a drink. I'm sorry. Have a drink.
What?
Sasha.
Right. What's going on over there?
Mind all of your own business. And
there you go. Tell them.
When you come on the panel, you're fair game. You know that.
Yeah, you told me that. You didn't tell her.
Oh, okay.
Rip right into
you. I'm aware of the fair game rule, but no one says I have to tell you anything. So that's also
true. That's true.
See, and this is where I love Sasha's angle. I love her angle when she says things just like that.
It's not.
I don't have to tell any of you guys anything.
I grew up in a shady environment. We learned to keep our mouths shut at an early age about certain things.
Absolutely.
Well, there we go.
So what's planned for next Monday, Christy? What are the plans for the next show? Do we know yet?
Yeah, we were in. Allie says that she's in, and Sasha says that she's in, and I have about there's about 6 other women that would, depending on situations. But I know Cynthia's back from Boots on the Ground. Godelkin, I know you're asking. You need to talk with her. But yes, I did talk to Cynthia today. She's doing great. She's safe, I will say. She's traveling. I think we do the women's panel next week. So sorry, boys.
But you still have to wear the T-shirt that I picked for you because there was 100 people in the
maybe
chat.
have it all. Yeah, maybe.
You lost a bet.
She lost a bet.
I will.
Move it over, Sasha.
Move it over, Sasha. We can't.
Move it over.
Help me. Uh-oh. What's going on over there?
Oh, wait. I see that. I noticed. I'm going to be the investigator. I know that handwriting, Sasha. I know that handwriting.
Look, Jason says this way is discipline and this way is abuse. Or is it the other way around?
Oh, wow.
Which way?
Sean has just gone silent. Well, so
I think you had it right the first time, the way you said it.
Yeah.
Ideally.
So I think
Ideally.
For the record, Jason did not hit me. Okay, don't infer that. Oh my God.
I think
That's not happening.
If we get a women's panel together, I think it would be fantastic. And I know Jamie, I know Cynthia, I know I won't name them all. There's and actually there's 3 women that have never been on YouTube that are interested if it's a women's panel.
Oh, wow.
Which
Okay.
I think is really interesting.
Nice,
So
that's
we'll
cool.
see if next week, but I do have to say certain times when they're working with, getting kids to certain things, all of us have life. But I think I just like to get 4 of us, and Mike, you can still do technical behind the scenes.
I won't be on the video. I'll just set it up. Right. I'm happy to do that.
I think that would be fantastic. Next Monday, let's do a women's panel. Allie's already asking, what's the topic? Yes, we will get on that.
Who is she?
We got to get Sean, stay out. No, and you're not allowed to be there when we're discussing the
You
topic.
should just call it secrets, because they're going to tell everything about everybody.
Search partners that are male. What do we feel about that?
Oh, boy.
I think all of us, let me think. 1 is solo, 2 is solo, one's male, one's male spouse, one's male boyfriend / I don't know. I haven't seen Jimmy Fast with any of the diamond rings, so I think it's
No
just
rings. No rings.
okay, girlfriend, boyfriend. 1 girlfriend, boyfriend, 1 married, 1 I don't know. So
all right, we don't need to know all that.
Situation. Yeah, I think it's a dynamic that would be interesting to discuss. So you don't get
it hasn't been done before, has it? An all-female panel.
No,
we had talked about it early on, but
okay.
It just never quite came together. So
yeah, so I think it'd be fun. That might be next week. We'll see. We need a male to carry the chest. Allie, shame on you.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Oh, that's funny.
Oh, you did not say that.
That's good.
I volunteer right now. I volunteer. I will carry you.
And then I could say you need a male to find the blaze, but I won't go there. I shouldn't have said it. I'm sorry.
Shelley always says that the reason Kevin and I both go along is so that he can carry the chest and I can carry the treasure.
There you go.
You know what? This is where I started, and this was my email to Fenn. I put 40 pounds in my pack, and that was what I was hiking with. We have different this might be a good topic because and now I go alone. I can tell you, I will have no problem without anyone, let alone female, male. If I go with Cynthia would do better than some of you boys.
Ooh.
Ouch.
All right, I just invited Jason. I sent you an invite, Jason. I could have swore I sent you an invite.
He was at football.
Don't give Cynthia a bigger head than she already has.
Uh-oh.
Toby Eunice just said that. Really, Toby Eunice?
Well, that's because Cynthia and I have a odd little affair going on, and little.
Wait, say what? Say that again.
What?
No, nothing. Never mind. It's the alcohol talking.
Right.
So Toby, when I'm out there, Cynthia's already said we need to get together. Where it all started, you and I and Shelley.
Well, it's okay if she doesn't want to do 4 margaritas in 1 hour, for God's sakes.
I think the last time she was on, she had a giant margarita.
There he is.
There he is.
I sent you an invite, Jason. When I sent it to Sasha, you were on it. You must have missed it. Or I had a wrong email. One of the other.
Oh, Jason, you already have your wall set up. Nice.
What's up, buddy?
Nice.
That looks good.
The Fenn treasure hunters are here.
Right.
And they're next to each other, at least in mine. Oh, yeah, they're next to each other.
They are next to each other, yeah.
Hey, Jason.
Yeah.
That's good.
Jason, how did the game go with the nephew?
They won by 4 points. Yep.
Nice.
So that was good.
Sorry, I was laughing at the chat room.
Monday night football score: Pittsburgh 30, Tampa Bay 13.
What
Just
score?
saying.
What
Just saying.
score?
Monday night football. Hey, Mike knows what I'm talking about.
I took the
Mike
under.
is
It's not looking good, but keep hope alive. It's not over yet.
Please, Sean. He's going to be distracted now.
All I'll ask Christy is that at least once on next week's show, if it's all women, at least once I got to say, ladies, and anybody in the Grand Adventure knows what that means.
Oh, yeah, you as you did in the chat.
Yeah, right. That's right. So everybody could join the Cowlazars Grand Adventure on Facebook. Put that out there.
I wanna get back to Toby's comment about him having an affair.
With Cynthia.
With Cynthia.
We have Cynthia and I have the same perspective on several topics. So,
have you ever been on a search together?
No.
Oh,
that's really funny considering that she lives.
I have.
Yeah.
Oh.
She lives 5 minutes away from
Michael,
Shelley, so I'm kind of surprised that we haven't actually.
Sounds like we do need a female panel.
when I came 2 months ago or 3 months ago, I was shocked because I tried to just get everybody together that I knew. And I remember Toby and Shelly coming up to the restaurant and saying to Cynthia, "It's so nice to meet you." And then we were at Sasha's house and Sasha said, "It's so nice to meet you, Toby." And I'm like, you guys live like 5 miles from, like, how is this the first time you guys are all meeting? You guys have all met in chats and stuff, but I don't think you had actually face to face met until 2 months ago.
No, I'm telling you, I've been out on 32 recons in 3 different states and have never run into another searcher. Period.
Well, no, but one lives like within 10 miles. Like you could have a lunch, dinner, coffee night, a poker night. Like, hey, meet up at poker.
Oh yeah, poker. That's right.
Well, I would like to come to your poker night when I'm out there.
Do you go to a casino, Toby?
Not, I've never interacted with Toby, but I've done that with Cynthia. We get together quite often, and there's other searchers who are less vocal in the community that I meet with on a regular basis as well. So, I mean, I just had not interacted with YouTube until Jason came along. So for me, I was fresh to the scene on that.
Yeah. Well, I thought that was
We're busy.
Yeah, I take one of the most active searchers and bring her to the community for everybody else.
She's in all the documentaries, but she just never. It's like she's shy for some reason. I don't know why.
Well, because I don't know if y'all figured this out, but I got a mouth on me. And
no.
The more I drink, the less I can control of that mouth. So cameras don't work well together.
That's what a live YouTube is all about. You never know what's going to happen. You never know what's going to be said.
No alcohol. I got no alcohol today.
Really? Xarbin says he's run into many searchers when he's been out in the field. Literally, we have never run into anybody else that's searching.
You know what? I ran into some people boots on the ground, but actually the area that I ran into, the Totem Cafe, which is now Bullwinkle's, I sat down and that's where I met Chip and several other searchers. And we had a whole night of discussions and all of that. It was so fun. And I will say there's nothing worse than going, oh gosh, I just came from boots on the ground, to meet locals that just wanted to sit and talk about it all night. It was the only thing that got me through that night. I was bummed.
Yeah. I have met a lot of searchers at the various Fenn events that we've supported over the years. So that's where I got, a lot of my introduction to searchers. So, and I did Fenbury this year for the first time too. So that was
nothing verifiable. But Dad, you remember when we were coming out of the Red River one and those 2 guys came in as we were headed out, and they
the pickup truck.
Damn strange. We had a strange conversation with them, and it was like we were both looking at each other like, we're telling you we're fishing, and we both know that none of us are fishing, kind of thing.
Yeah. It was.
Like they didn't have any tackle. It was weird. They're like, oh yeah, we're going down fishing. They didn't have any tackle. And we're like,
is that the time that Toby pushed you in the water and made you cross over?
No, that was the
push is a kind word for what went down. But yeah. No.
Have you ever been on a search with him since? That's what I want to know.
Yeah.
So I ran into a individual who was actually camping out for the entire summer season in the area.
Oh wow!
Bill Gorman?
No, it wasn't Bill. But this individual had his entire campsite set up. He had, I believe I counted 12 of those black and yellow containers with all of his, supplies.
Oh, okay.
Season, and on a trailer. This guy was set up. He was, staked in and ready to go for the entire summer. Now, I did find traces of him as I was approaching my search area. Going in, you could tell that he's been spending a lot of time in there. But I mean, you're going to run into that. You're going to run every once in a while. You'll run into somebody who has set up camp, and they are just set on what they're doing, and they're going to stay there until Mother Nature drives them off.
Shelly just corrected me. One of the times we went up to Osher Station last year, we stopped just before lunch, and I went in and asked a woman where the restrooms were, and she went like this. She says, "They're right over there, Toby." So yeah, she and her children actually spend their summers working at Osher Station with the trains every summer because they too think that it's in this it's in that that Rio de los Pinos area. But I didn't. She knew me from our YouTube channel, but I didn't know she was. She was very nice, and her kids were great. That's where they spend their summers.
Well, but here's the difference, and this is why I think the women's panel is important. Toby, I've heard you tell that, or I just heard you tell that story, but Sasha told a story about being by herself, packing, boots on the ground, where a man came up and called her by name.
Yeah.
There's a different reaction when you have that. And I just was talking to somebody yesterday about, I had a man approach me, and when I was alone, boots on the ground, and I wasn't packing, I had bear spray. So I was like, that's what you're going to get, dude.
Yeah.
And there's a different experience sometimes.
Different vibe there.
Yeah, it would be between what you're doing, boots on the ground. So, Mike, did you want to answer that question from the chat room about the?
Jimmy Fast wants to know: did Fenn let you guys drink from Jackie O's bottle? I did drink from the bottle. How many of you guys have drank from the bottle?
Drank from the bottle. Just raise your hand, because I know that's me. That's Mike. Who else? Raise your hand.
Jason. You never did, Christy? Yeah, you did. Come on.
Jason was going to call me out, so I couldn't.
That's right.
So how does the bottle never empty? That's what I want to know. Fenn, can you clarify that one?
That's my question.
Right.
That's my question.
That's awesome, though, to hold the bottle. It's got the date on it of 1984, so yeah.
It doesn't matter what it is.
That's true. That's true, Sean.
No,
he can just refill it all he wants. I mean,
no, but I do have to say I've seen probably 15 or 20 people drink from the bottle, and I will say the best one ever is when Decall, who does not drink by religion, he explained that. So he did the same story, and he's like, just put your lips to it, think about it, but don't drink at the end. And it was a whole thing, and it still was special, but it was like, wow, it can be tailored really to the searcher, which I thought was pretty remarkable. I thought that was kind of cool.
Huh.
So anyway, Decall had that. I'm sorry if Decall didn't want that shared. I apologize, but it's out there now. Sorry.
Well, I got a picture of Forrest when he was taking a swig from the bottle right at the perfect moment, and his face is priceless. It's just like the worst thing he's ever put in his mouth.
Hey, put that on our new Facebook page.
Oh my God, I have to find that
up right there.
That was at least 3-4 years ago.
So you guys, I think, Sean, everybody's got a new Facebook page. Announce it for everybody.
I don't have a new Facebook.
I know you don't.
Figuring out Forrest on Facebook. You can go on there, send us an invite, and we'll welcome you to the page.
Jason, you guys got one, right?
Yeah, Finn Treasure Hunter or Hunters. I don't remember what it's called.
Dan, you need one for the art. You need to make one.
Well, and I'll say the flip side just started one this week as well. And I will say I am now on Facebook. That's huge. That's huge. And I've gone onto all of your sites, and I've joined as many as I can find. And I'm now, it's a full-time job. I got so many messages today and notifications and this and that. I'm like, Mike, how do you deal with all this? Because I go on Facebook like maybe once a month, and I feel really bad because of the Jamie drawing. We had a couple people that wanted to donate. They were doing Facebook, and I was like, I didn't get this in time. So I am now going to pledge to be on Facebook, at least try to check in once a day or once every other day.
Yeah, we do. You have the option of what kind of page that you want. One of is just kind of outbound stuff, and people can see your stuff, but they can't comment on it. The only time they can comment is when we live stream. So we chose to do that just because when we first started, we made it open like that, and there was no way I could keep up with all the traffic. Just no way.
Yeah.
So
Oh my God.
we made it outbound, and it works okay for us. We're not going to get as many followers, but it's how we want the channel. We just don't have the time for it.
So Toby, every video you have now goes to YouTube and Facebook simultaneously, or no?
No, well, we used to copy as soon as we finished doing a video. As soon as it streamed and YouTube processed it, we'd share it over on Facebook. But about a week ago, we started using Restream.io so that it actually streams to Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and
Twitch. Okay.
Periscope simultaneously, so I don't have to copy over.
Nice.
The only interesting thing about it is that it affected our YouTube views because now the people from Facebook can actually see it on Facebook.
Right. They don't have to go to
over
YouTube.
to YouTube.
Yeah,
we wanted to expand our footprint.
Mm-hmm.
That's why he's doing the 3-hour rebroadcast of the previous week's shows to get that viewer count up.
Well, what happened? So I'll be honest on that one. That was an experiment, and as I've told my children, a successful experiment is one in which you have more data after the experiment than you did before, and you didn't die. So that qualified as a successful experiment because what it told us, what the data told us was, we will never do that again. So,
but Toby, on the same week, you've got it. I mean, even though I know because there was only like 15 of us in there, that Friday night Fandango, it went on for hours, and you could have gone. I know you cut it off. You could have gone on. That was wildly successful. So I know that success is measured in different ways, but.
And we're trying, you probably noticed for the past 2 or 3 weeks, we're trying a lot of different programming templates just to see what does work and discard the ones that don't. We're going to be changing the panel template here in the next couple of weeks. We're expanding to the other platforms, like I said, Twitch, Periscope, and Facebook. So, and it all has the effect of bringing folks into the community that we wouldn't have seen otherwise. So, yeah, the Saturday night experiment, that really was an experiment, and the data tells us let's not do that again.
Well, but it is interesting how much I've only been on the forums pretty much, and to span over to Facebook now, just in the last few days, there is very little overlap between the two groups, which I find fascinating. That there is, I mean, there's some, like all of you all are doing both, but a lot of people, I know when I first launched, I did a contest and I got a lot of Facebook people that I had to spend so much time, they didn't even know how to post, and it was like, but I don't know how to do Facebook. So I'm learning that side. It is interesting that the social spheres don't overlap as much as I thought they did.
It was actually a long, extended conversation that I had with Sean Martinez, where he convinced me that we needed to start streaming to Facebook because it really was based on his experience. He belongs to all the, I'll let him tell you this, but he informed us that he belongs to all the big Fenn channels on whatever they call them on pages on Facebook, and suggested that the people there were completely different from our subscribers on YouTube. And indeed, he's right. We can see just again by the data that the people that are there are not in the same age group. They tend to be older. They tend to be very specific. They look at your video for 10 seconds and make a quick decision about whether they benefit from it, et cetera, et cetera. So was it Sean's actual recommendation, Sean's recommendation that we made the move into Facebook?
Well, and Sean, what do you think about if you know the social space? I know my search partner brings in the Reddit conversations and he sends them to me, and I've just got on Reddit, and I know Mike, you're on Reddit, but what about Instagram? What about Tumblr? What about all the other ones that I don't even know what that means?
Tinder.
I don't think Tumblr's your crowd, Christy.
I have no idea what it is. So, okay. But what about, is it Instagram a big one? Instagram?
It is. Instagram is a very big platform, and ideally, the more platforms you're on, whether that is your flagship or not.
That's right.
I mean, if your flagship is YouTube, then of course that's what you're going to write on, and others can come into that area from those other platforms. So, I mean, the further reach you have, the more people that you will get interested who maybe have never heard about the Fenn treasure. I believe Toby had a call in over the weekend, somebody who was just calling in to ask, hey, what is this treasure hunt? What is?
Oh my gosh.
Somebody living under a rock.
I got sent a voicemail for that guy.
That makes me think that was one of those guys who was scrolling Facebook and he just so happened to see it. And hey, I'm going to call this number and I'm going to ask them questions.
Well, what was fun about it?
You're going to have a further reach.
What was fun about it is the chat room was very like, oh, isn't Toby being patient with him? And then for about the first 3 minutes, and then it changed to hang the frickin' phone up, Toby. And he's like, Christy's waiting to call, for God's sakes, answer her phone call. So
I'm like, what are you doing, Toby? I'm getting a voicemail for this. Are you kidding me? And I'm like, wait, I don't want to blame.
So as Sean explained, one of the benefits of expanding onto these other platforms is you get a bigger search engine optimization footprint. But then there's additional benefits like Instagram is hard because you can't put a video on Instagram that's longer than 60 seconds.
Sure.
but you can put something on Instagram that refers you to Facebook. The other thing that happened is Twitter acquired Periscope, and you can't stream to Twitter, but you can stream to Periscope, and it ends up on your Twitter channel, which is the only way to get video on Twitter. So it does have some benefits in terms of your internet footprint.
Sean, I've got a question for you, buddy. So,
Sure.
From your point of view, from looking at it as an investigation, I mean, aren't all of these social media sites and a lot of the information that's being put out, even by tubers and channels and stuff, essentially white noise because it's not vetted in any way. It's just basically people batting ideas back and forth, and not necessarily the core truths, the things that you can say are your givens, right? I mean, there's things you can say are absolutely true and core, and then there's other stuff that is hearsay and conjecture and stuff like that. And where does that fall in your view of the chase?
In my view of the chase, that's why you have to have a very particularly or intricately structured filter for all of that white noise. If you have a really good filter, you know the core truths of the chase. For example, you could ask a couple members on the panel here tonight a question, and they know it right away. So those things you can filter all the white noise out, and then you just collect the new things that could be ideally beneficial to your search area or your search location that you've already honed in on. So yeah, it does create a lot of white noise. It does create a lot of chaos to the search, which for the searcher who's tuned into that could be beneficial because you're filtering all of the white noise out and only keeping the items that are essentially important to your specific solution. So, I mean, that's the way I view it. I think that's a good way to approach it. The more information coming in, the more possibilities that you'll have of locating it, or maybe it being that one thing that one piece of the puzzle you've been missing, and an aha moment that just fits right into the spot.
Yeah, and you don't have to answer this if it's too personal, but is there ever been a part of your trying to, take in all this information that was just about like, I wonder if anybody's really close to my solve, like just kind of getting a sense of who's at where compared to what you think the solve is?
Oh, absolutely. I think there's a number of people who are scattered throughout the Rocky Mountains, scattered throughout the mountains north of Santa Fe. They're and they should be. I mean, if they're really dedicated to this search and finding this chest, they're going to be paying attention to all of the little things that go on. Some people too much. Some people not enough. I mean, you've got those guys that are going to go head over heels to try and find out where Sean Martinez is searching, and I've had that on different messages that have been sent and comments that have been made. It's going to happen. I mean, people are researching everything about you as a person, you as a searcher, when your main focus is researching Forrest Fenn and this poem. So, I mean, people will, they're just like we get really excited about this chase and finding the chest. There's the possibility that anybody on this panel, somebody's going to get really excited about you and think you've got it right, and they're going to watch every single one of your videos. They're going to read every single one of your posts. They're really going to be tuned in to you as a person and unfortunately, that's what happens whenever you go onto the internet, onto the web, and people can listen to you and really gain a confidence from the confidence that you may display as to where you think the solution may be. So,
but
I want to take.
I want to chime in a little bit and say, and put it in perspective, just like you should with Forrest. There's a personal boundary, especially with searchers. Like my search, when I get the final location, I don't need anybody researching my kid or my situation or any of that.
I agree.
Like with
I
Forrest,
agree.
don't do that. And there's some that do, and it just takes away from the whole community. So it's like, don't be
It
a one.
does.
I call it the 1%er. Don't be a 1%er. Just
Yeah,
be
don't be a
the rest of
1%.
us. We're 7%ers. We're all in this together. We're a little crazy. We're having fun, but don't be a 1%er because it just
I agree, and that's the
But-
way it should be, Kpro. That's the way it should be, and I hope everybody goes forward that way, especially
They
all of
don't.
us and anybody
They don't.
watching. Unfortunately, you're going to have that one guy, or that 1% that could take that angle, and then you just have to shut that down.
Jason, what do you think about that, man?
Well, I think that Sean Martinez would probably like all the other channels out there and everybody's ideas because nobody's got it right. So he can eliminate a bunch of things off the bat. So, he's not going to tell you all that. I'll ruin it for him. But, it's like finding the truth through the bullshit, if you will. By eliminating all the things that are wrong, he can lean more towards what's right.
Absolutely. I agree with that. I mean, anybody searching outside of my search area, I can just immediately eliminate them. If you're searching,
That's what we all say.
if you're searching,
Maybe eliminate them is not exactly the right phrase.
no, I agree, Toby. Eliminate them as the potential
Okay, all right.
competition
Yeah,
that
yeah.
could get to the chest before I could.
All right, Sean, somebody in the chat asked if you're wearing shorts right now.
If I'm wearing shorts,
Shorts, yeah.
I'm wearing.
All right.
That guy's
Full
dressed.
dress.
in a
If you
tie.
ask a question, I ask it. All right.
Now, did you see though? I think it was on Toby's show on Wednesday. No, it was the after party, the encore. That after a couple drinks, the tie comes down just a little.
A little bit.
Just saying, I was like, wow, I didn't know if that happened. I noted it. I noted it, Sean. You have
All
to
right,
say.
all right.
The tie gets loosened a little bit, and everybody.
All right, another question from the chat. Somebody wants to know if the treasure chest is found, what would the amount have to be for people to still try and find the location? So the person who finds it, they want to do their own treasure hunt with this location. But how much money would it have to be for you guys to be interested in still looking for it?
$100,000 minimum.
I think that's a pretty good number.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Number.
No, because
none,
the
never.
game is to win. The game is to be the guy to win. And once it's the guy, there's no more guys. So no, none.
I want to meet the
What
person.
Sasha said.
I want to meet the person that decides to do that, to leave any part of that chest behind,
Right.
because I feel like that's going to be really hard to do.
But you know what? There's one every day that says it. There's one every day that says it.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, there is. I'm tired of hearing it. But, guys, I mean, all games have to come to an end at some point. And it doesn't matter who it is in the end. It's going to be over.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be even more interesting than the fact that we've all come together and created this community is what happens to all of us one day. And that's kind of scary and exciting, but also sad because I've enjoyed all of my interactions with everyone. And
Absolutely.
I'm not going to have this to do every night as I prepare to go to bed. Like, what am I going to do with my time?
Question.
We all need to create our own treasure hunt. We all need to make our own thing.
Well, but that's where I think, and I've learned a lot from Mike, and I've learned a lot from Beth, and I've learned a lot from Jenny. There's a lot of smaller hunts out there that are just as exhilarating. Like there's one in North Carolina right now that I wish I could get some time to because I don't have to go more than an hour or two. And I just met with Bill Kaiser for drinks yesterday. And he's like, tell me about that one because I won't have to do $5,000. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, so I think there's a next chapter. And I think there's conversations of, do we make it a Fenn community based? Because I have one that I would love to make it based on my love. Well, I call it my love salt, the salt that I just love to death. And Sasha, I know you've been to your place so many times, and I know Gypsy's Kiss. I know there's so many people that have. Why don't we make that the next one that comes up? I don't know what the business model looks like because we're all not like have a lot of money like Forrest, but I think there's a community that is more in this than just Forrest Fenn. I might be wrong though. Totally wrong. I might be wrong. I am a lot.
And I have to say,
Christy, if it was found tomorrow, what would your show be about next Monday?
There is called the Treasure Man's Cache, and number 3 is North Carolina, and there is 12 other states. Mike, you can do this better than I can.
If it's found tomorrow, the next show is where was it found and how off we were and who was close. It continues on. It's not just over. Like I said, I would go there. I want to go see it and see if it made sense.
That
Who gets
could
the
be for
exclusive interview?
Yeah.
Of course. But so for the next maybe 6 months, it could be discussions about Forrest Fenn, but then it could be the next one of maybe there's search coins that are out there that on all the different search states, and people are still sticking with this Forrest Fenn piece. Maybe he has something in mind for a second hunt. Maybe somebody comes out of the woodwork, somebody that wants to pay $15,000 for coin 1. Maybe they go stick coin 1 somewhere and say, I'll give you $15,000 if you figured out this information. I just think, I mean, it's up in the air. I think it could be exciting, but I think your point with the question is it won't be the same. It won't.
It won't be the same. That's true.
It won't.
Nothing will be the same as the thrill of the chase. That's true.
Yeah.
No, but we have a good baseline for a community treasure hunt. So, you know, with the people and the connections and the different channels that are out there, if something were to pop up, we have a good community base to start that with.
Well, here's a question I have. If it's found when Forrest Fenn's still alive, would he do something more?
No. Nope.
No, you don't think so?
No.
He's done. I got to believe he's done.
He may not. He may not. But however, he may enlist someone younger than him to carry it on. I mean, there's the possibility that he may enlist someone who would be willing. In my opinion, it could be somebody in his family. I think he's done physically. I don't think he has the ability to continue that. However, there's the possibility he may enlist someone. However, a member of the community who finds it, who is this vested into it, coming on these shows and doing YouTube and those things, may have it in their mind to continue the thrill of the chase by utilizing the treasure and the fortune that they found to continue this thrill of the chase, after Forrest is gone or after the treasure is found. Now, some people may take it. They take their 30 days. They're quiet. They do what they need to do, and potentially decide, hey, I'm not gonna tell anybody where I found it, and we're gonna put another treasure there and continue this thrill going forward.
Well, but I think to Sasha's point, I think 90% of the community would be done. The hardcores would be in, but all the newbies and all that. But here's a question I have, just because I email Forrest Fenn every time someone says they found it, and I had to lock a thread, which I only lock a thread maybe once or twice a month, and he just entered the chat room because he has either said he found it or
Mark
someone said,
yeah.
Okay, so you guys know too. You've entered the chat room, dude. Either so what's going on?
I'll send you a Zoom invite right now. Email me.
I had to lock the thread because you have to say it, because Forrest is announcing when it's on Thor, so I can't have people saying they found it. People have been banned for less, but it was someone who was friends with him. So Mark Connor, what do you say, my friend?
How many people have said they found it over the last 8 years? I mean, a
325,000.
Right. Do they come into a chat room on the day that I lock the thread because they say, come on.
So, can I read a question from the chat room?
Sure.
Mary Green wants to know, panel, how many treasure hunts have you been on before the thrill of the chase, either book or online?
Ooh.
Well, if you guys have watched my vlogs, you know we had one here in Vegas that kind of got me involved. Vegas Diet was called. There's one every year that the radio station does called the Jingle Bell Rock. It's between Thanksgiving and Christmas. That's $10,000 every year. I'm going to get it one of these years. But me and D-Call have worked on that. That's how I met D-Call before the Thrill of the Chase, was through the Jingle Bell Rock. So there's been a couple that I've done before.
My first, Dan.
What's that?
Well, how many treasure hunts have you been on before the thrill of the chase?
This would be number 1.
Sean Martinez.
Well, my family owns some property that there's supposed to be a hidden treasure on. So I've been on that treasure hunt. Of course, it's a family property. My ancestry goes back to, I think 1598, we came into New Mexico as the Spaniards, and there was a lot of stuff going on back then, but the land grants were given within 100, 200 years after that. And so we have some family property that there's supposed to be some treasure hidden.
Looky here.
Nobody's found it yet. So I wouldn't say this.
So, Christy, first one.
First one was Forrest Fenn.
Oh, live chat.
Breakfast, Tea, and Bourbon. I've done Jason.
Facebook group or YouTube group.
Who are they? Hi, people.
Hi.
That's my girlfriend. This is my niece, Danielle. And,
hello.
These are other people in the chat community.
Cool.
Danielle.
Have a great night.
Nice. So I did Forrest Fenn's. I started with Forrest Fenn's, but then I got onto Mike's channel and Jenny's channel, and I did Breakfast, Tea, and Bourbon. I did Dead Sea Scroll. There was like 4 others. The biggest one that I had the biggest heartache is I did one local to North Carolina, and my son, much like Justin's, my son actually found it, and I said, no, let's keep going. And he has told me, and it ended up being there. And
No, I'm good.
Well, he's hooked for life now. I mean, he's hooked on treasure hunts for life.
He said, if I go boots on the ground next year with you, that one was only for $1,000. Will you please not cost us $1 million?
That was like the crook in the tree thing or something.
Yes,
like
it was like it was supposed to be the bend. I thought it was the bend in the street. It was the bend in the tree branch.
Yeah.
And he will never. It's been a year now, and he just said, if I go boots on the ground, I'm not giving up Fenn's treasure chest. I'm gonna make you do it. And I'm like, okay. He's 9 years old and pretty shy, so I think I spent about 5 or 6.
Yeah,
So.
Sasha, I got a question for you. You remember when you were talking at the beginning about what's going to go down if one of us ends up like one of the more visually seen? I got a question for you. If it was one of us and we wanted to remain anonymous, so we were still coming on these shows afterwards, like, yeah, who was it? Do you think we'd be able to figure it out? Do you think somebody could actually play it off as I have no freaking idea?
No way.
Absolutely.
You think it could be done?
Sean.
Poker face.
I think so. Absolutely. And me and Copper Dan, he was like, no way. And I'm like, absolutely.
Let's pretend for 5 seconds it's one of the people on the screen. That would mean only one of us is right and the rest of us are so far wrong.
But that's the case as it is.
Right now.
Yeah, that's the case right now.
Yeah.
There could be one of us on this screen who has a solution location. That's right. And the rest of us wrong. I mean, it's possible.
Yeah.
So none of you will ever believe me unless I show you the treasure chest. And I will never believe any of you unless you do the same. That's just a courtesy.
But I think it should be anonymously put out there, whether it's from me or not. I think it should anonymously be. I won't say it's me because there's already crazies at my door now. I can only imagine if I found it. So I will anonymously try to figure it out. And I think Toby has a video, which I'll have to figure out eventually, like with the newspaper and then and all that. I will have to find that video. I just found the trolls with
Control the Trolls video. Yeah, that's
so
good video.
I go day by day. So my day by day is if I find it, that's the one that I'm going to find. And I will notify the community, but they will never know it's me.
I think that's impossible.
To do it anonymously?
If any of us find the chest, it's going to change your life in such a way. I think it's going to be, you would not be able to, you'd have a tell. I'm sorry.
I disagree.
I'm with Sasha. I disagree. It's not lottery class winnings, right?
So all these people that are making videos about the chase, if you actually find it, you're never going to tell anybody. I would have it right here on my shoulder.
Andy would be dead in a week. Everybody knows where you live. Everybody knows your full name. I mean, are you kidding? You haven't had stalkers. It's a different.
Some of us have, and I partially agree with Copper Dan. You would have a tail. You could be very, very good at covering it up. I mean, you could be very good at going through one of these panels and trying to hide it. But there will be some form of tell if you're keyed in on what that could potentially be. there could be a tail. I agree with that.
I mean,
But,
suddenly my
nobody
house
could get away with it.
changes and I'm driving a new car. And,
Or you just disappear off the map. I mean,
yeah.
you just
That's the
disappear off the
tell.
map.
That's
Nobody can
the tell.
contact you.
Yeah.
Nobody can get a hold of you. Nobody
Wait. But I
you're
already
getting
have a
email.
nice house in the Lexus. So
Maybe you already found it, Sasha. Maybe you already have it.
Sasha,
maybe I did.
but Sasha, if you went silent all of a sudden, I love you. But if you went silent, that would be my tell. Like,
That
oh,
would be the tell.
no,
If I shut my mouth, that's when you should worry.
Sasha
That's-
disappeared. Nobody can get a hold of her.
That's what I think
Speaking
is
of that,
we'd have to
I might not be doing a live show tomorrow.
Oh.
All right, so Mark Connor did clarify in the chat that he never said he found the chest. He thinks he's found the place, but he has not found the chest. So there's a clarification for everybody.
no,
That's
no,
all
no
that
offense,
white noise.
And I don't know
Jason.
what he put
All
on
that white
Thor,
noise
but-
he's talking about.
Now, and he
Right
did put
there.
it, to be fair,
He
and
said
he
he
did
found the
put it-
place, and before you know it, he found the chest.
Yeah.
Well, and to be fair on Thor, it was friends of his that told him that he got, and it's like, no offense, everybody has. And Forrest has told me, stop asking me. Every time somebody says they found it, I would email him and say, do I need to announce it on Thor? And he's like, cut it out. Everyone does. Don't. This would be an everyday
I would
answer.
block you, Christy.
Yeah.
That's what I would do.
Hey guys,
doesn't
I'm at 2% left. I got to cut out of here. I'm good. That's going to shut off on me anyway.
Yeah, we're going on an hour and a half, everybody. So we'll wrap it
Yeah,
up here in a minute.
Did this show go longer than the initial?
It did.
Yes,
It did.
Yeah.
Because all
But
of
they
you
never
got
got as many
abducted on the
viewers.
Cowlazars channel.
Right. But he didn't get as many viewers, so it balances out in terms of watching.
Right. But somebody's got to wear a T-shirt and somebody doesn't. So
You
we'll
better
figure
be
that
nice,
out.
like
We'll figure
Cowlazars.
that
You
out.
better be
You
nice,
know what?
like-
I do too, because I still have to do my presentation slides for tomorrow, and I don't want to be up all night doing this. So
So I
I'm
gotta
kicking
say,
it tomorrow I'll be in the chat just having fun.
yeah,
I gotta say, Toby, thank you because you sent my first ever super chat ever, and then Dan sent an even bigger one. So I gotta say thanks, guys. I don't even know how that works.
I'm
Well,
always
question.
asking for super chat, and I realized I've never actually done one. And I was going to give you more, but I clicked buttons before.
Oh,
Before
gotcha.
we hit that
I
next
appreciate it.
decimal point. You
Yeah.
know?
It was supposed to be
The other thing, too,
$399.
is
I
when you do
understand.
it with iOS, it does it in increments of 99 cents.
Okay.
So no matter what you do, that's why it says that's an iOS feature. Right.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, here's the bad news. YouTube takes 30% of that. So
Right.
Oh,
I gotcha.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, YouTube takes 30% of your super chats.
Hey, Copper Dan, I just want to let you know I love those pieces. I loved seeing them in person in Santa Fe. I think it's really great what you're doing, you know,
Thank you.
with your channel and your craftsmanship. Also, Jason, I have your piece right in there. My daughter loves it, the little mirror that you gave to us. It's great. I just love that, you know, it's Art Week and you guys are emphasized on the channel, and keep it up. That's something that I've never been really artsy or able to do, so I really respect and appreciate both of you.
yeah, right on.
Thanks.
So Sasha's phone died, so she's frozen in time for us.
Oh shoot.
She
No,
said,
she is thinking very hard about what to do now that she found the treasure chest.
Yeah.
Ah.
Mm.
So,
what
hey-
That's her. No, I don't have this treasure. Look.
Right. Right. I don't know what you're talking about.
I
Yeah,
might,
cool.
I might have that treasure. I might have that treasure.
So I just want to say thanks everybody for coming on. It's been
Thanks for the
interesting.
invitation.
It's been fun, and I think it's good to get together and just talk things out. It's
It
good to hear
is.
different opinions.
Apparently, they think it's entertaining because they're here, right?
There's
Right,
70
right.
of them still sticking
Yeah.
in the chat room right
Yeah.
now.
Mike, is your show next week going to be ladies' night too, or?
Yeah. Ouch! Ouch! Let me pull that out. That's up to Kpro. I don't know. Maybe I could.
No,
Abduct. Yeah,
I'm
abduct is
Monday.
probably not the right word to use.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
but
don't know
by
what Thursday show is going to be yet. I'm still working that out. I'm still working it out.
Next Thursday, and
Okay.
a week from Thursday, that could be an interesting show too, Mike.
It could be. It could be. We'll figure it out. It's a fluid situation. We're working it out as we go. But as long as we're having fun, then everything's okay. So, all
Right on.
right, guys, I'm going to shut it down, and I hope you
All
guys
right.
tune in next Monday. We'll do it again.
It's been fun, guys.
Sounds
Thanks.
good.
Bye.
Good evening.
Bye.
Thanks for the
Thanks,
invite.
Toby. Thanks,
Good night.
Toby.